Hello my friends, and welcome to Our Mind. My name is Dr. Cassie Klein, and in this video I'd like to delve into depression. So in this video sequence I'd like to talk about the new and up-and-coming research trends and our current scientific and public understanding of depression, which is surprisingly a little bit different to our old understanding. That is, that depression is simply a chemical imbalance in the brain, and that the only way you can get better is by taking medications that fix this molecular imbalance. While not completely untrue, I'd like to take a deeper delve into our current knowledge. Like they say, out with the old and in with the new. And in this ever-growing modern world of information overload, it's vital that we understand how to cut through the clutter if we want to move ahead and make a change. This is one of a three-part lecture series on understanding depression. We're also in the process of developing an exciting new course called Modernize Your Mental Health, and if this resonates with you and if you'd like to delve beyond this short 3-lecture series, we will have the full course available on our Our Mind page, so be sure to check it out. Firstly, I often get asked, how do I deal with someone who has low mood or depression? Say it's a family member or friend or even ourselves. How do we deal with depression? So I like to approach depression in an oversimplified way, bear with me, and that is to look at ourselves like a plant. Let's say a sunflower. When you plant a sunflower and say it's not doing well, you don't blame the plant or question its biology or being, nor do you just look at the plant and say, well, why can't you just grow? Why can't you just be happy? Instead, you look at reasons why it isn't doing well. Perhaps it's not getting enough sunlight, perhaps it needs fertilizer or water, maybe it's planted around other shrubs which it doesn't gel with. It's simple. Purely understanding the plant and its environment and situation is the best way to help it grow. There's no point in trying to persuade or use argument and reason. That's just not very helpful. But if you take care of them, understand them and what they need and love them, then they will grow. And we will grow, just like sunflower. And we know that if we provide love and care to a plant, it'll actually grow stronger compared to if we just dismiss or bully the plant. So imagine what that could give to a human being. Love and understanding is what we all need to grow. Well, that's my impression anyway. But I guess this video isn't really about plants, so let's get into the juicy stuff. Depression is prevalent and on the rise, currently affecting up to 5% of the population. To put that into perspective, it's equivalent to an entire country, almost the size of the United States, suffering from depression. Between the year 2005 and 2015, depression rates increased by 18%. It's currently ranked number 4 in causes of disability worldwide, and it is projected that this may rank second by 2020. That is huge. So let me just say this. If you are suffering from something like depression, you're certainly not alone. Many famous people have publicly disclosed about their depressive illness, including actors Jim Carrey, Anthony Hopkins, musicians Ozzy Osbourne, Elton John, Billy Joel, and scientist Stephen Hawking. And yet there remains a bit of a stigma around discussing mental health matters. The World Health Organization predicts that over 350 million people have depression, and around a third of all patients do not respond to traditional antidepressant treatments such as SSRIs. But even more so, it often remains undiagnosed and untreated. So what are we doing about managing this rise in suffering in our communities? Current theories try to describe depression under what we call a biopsychosocial model. That is, a complex interplay between biological, psychological, and social or environmental causes. Basically, depression is likely not one single entity, but rather a phenomenon which includes a cloud of various symptoms likely due to a multitude of causes. To complicate things even more, some scientists argue that depression actually constitutes a number of different conditions under the same umbrella of depressive symptoms with a similar appearance that we have yet to tease out, differentiate, and fully understand. In fact, we now know that it's not just an illness of the mind. There appears to be a mind-body interaction which communicates both ways. Depression affects the body and vice versa. Depression is often associated with other physical problems and chronic diseases, with concurrent changes in our metabolism, hormones, and our immune function. But in short, it's this complex interplay between our genetics, our minds, our bodies, and our environment. The result is an array of difficult symptoms: pervasive low mood or feelings of guilt, changes in our sleep, appetite, energy levels, feelings of low self-worth and guilt. It can also impair our thinking, causing sluggishness and memory problems and an overwhelming sense of indecisiveness. In fact, these troubled thinking type symptoms tend to take a longer time to get better and are less responsive to antidepressants. Many people describe just not feeling like their real self. Now, this wasn't meant to just confuse everyone about what depression actually is or what causes it. It's simply that we cannot pin it down to one thing or one universal cause. And there are so many paths of research delving into the various things that could be contributing or indeed causing depression, which we'll be looking at in our next video, so bear with me. So we could technically call it an illness, like under the DSM as major depressive disorder, and because it affects our functioning. However, it's not just an illness. It is believed to be an evolved response to cope with certain adversities or triggers. This is further elucidated by looking at ancient cultures. Despite what people believe, depression is not a modern-day phenomenon or merely a symptom of our Western culture. Ancient cultures, such as ancient Greek physicians and even Egyptian scriptures as far back as 3000 BC, describe what we would consider mood disorders, including depression, and even Hippocrates articulates this in his work. This suggests that it is an evolved type thing to deal with certain adversities. Also, scientists believe. It is postulated that depression may have had an evolutionary benefit to our ancestors, where perhaps if a member of a hunter-gatherer tribe became ill, they'd become depressed and withdrawn, and this would prevent disease from being spread around. It's all very fascinating stuff, and in our next video we'll delve a little deeper into the current research underpinning the causes of depression. I'll see you there.